The Louvre, Secrets, Stories, and How One Museum Became a World of Its Own. Part 1, From Fortress to World Icon. Hey there, welcome back. Today, we're not just visiting a museum. We're stepping into a place that feels like its own mini-country, the Louvre. It's bigger than your expectations, older than most nations, and packed with stories that bounce from kings and revolutions to archaeologists and modern crowds holding phones high in the air. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by it, perfect. This script is your calm, friendly guide. Let's start where almost nobody does, before the art. Because the Louvre started as something completely different, a problem to solve. How do you protect Paris in a rough medieval world? A stone problem solver on the Seine, late 1100s. Paris is small, muddy, and nervous. Enemies can come by river, by road, and rumors travel faster than horses. King Philip Augustus decides to draw a hard line in stone. He orders a fortress on the right bank of the Seine, thick curtain walls, corner towers, and in the middle a heavy keep. The kind of building that doesn't ask for respect, it demands it. That was the first Louvre. No galleries, no marble, no selfie angles. It was a message: this city has teeth. Time does what time does. Cities grow, threats shift, kings get comfortable. Defensive walls slowly turn into decorations, and the fortress becomes a palace. Every generation tweaks something, adds a wing, opens a courtyard, chops a medieval chunk and replaces it with something fashionable. Imagine a house that keeps renovating itself for 800 years. That's the Louvre. Palaces are for showing off. By the 1500s and 1600s, French kings want more than safety, they want glory. The Louvre gets halls that look like operas froze mid-performance, gold leaf, painted ceilings, carved door frames, huge fireplaces, polished floors. The old fortress bones are still there. You can literally go downstairs today and see the foundations like a fossil, but upstairs it's all royal theatre. The palace says, "We rule, we know beauty, and we can afford a lot of it." Then the revolution flips the script. Jump to 1789 to 1793. Boom! France flips from monarchy to revolution. All the old rules wobble. And here's the wild, modern idea the revolutionaries have: art shouldn't be private treasure, it should be public memory. In 1793, the Louvre opens as a museum. That's radical. Ordinary people can now walk into a place where kings once guarded their trophies and say, "This is ours." Not just the walls, not just the rooms, the story inside them. The glass pyramid, a modern argument that one. Flash forward again to 1989. Architect I.M. Pei drops a glass pyramid in the main courtyard. People argue, of course they do. But the pyramid does two smart things: it becomes a giant skylight for a functional, centralized entrance below, and it says something out loud. The Louvre is both ancient and modern, solid stone and clear glass, history and right now. If you ever feel weird about a glass pyramid in a Renaissance palace, just remember, the Louvre has been remixing itself for centuries. This is simply the newest verse. How big is big? Quick reality check so you don't panic later. The Louvre is massive, hundreds of thousands of works, kilometers of corridors. If you looked at each piece for 10 seconds, you'd be there weeks. So don't do the Louvre. That's like trying to do books. You visit the Louvre, then come back again. Mentally split it into 3 big wings: Denon, toward the Seine, home of many blockbusters; Sully, the historic core sculpture; Egypt, and classical layers; Richelieu, toward Rue de Rivoli, calmer rooms, Near Eastern pieces, decorative arts; Napoleon III apartments. Why the Louvre feels different from other museums. Many museums have masterworks. The Louvre has myths wrapped around its masterworks. You don't just see the Mona Lisa, you step into a global legend. You don't just look at winged victory, you climb into a staged moment where marble pretends to be wind. You don't just meet Venus de Milo, you meet the idea of beauty that survived even after her arms didn't, and under those famous faces is a harder story, how everything got here. Diplomacy, purchases, gifts, archaeology, and sometimes the rougher parts of history, conquest, empire, war, and later, restitution. If you want the whole Louvre experience, it's not only about looking, it's also about listening to where the objects came from and where they might go next. Alright, origin story loaded. In part 2, we'll walk in together, dodge the human rivers, and make a smart first loop that hits the icons without melting your brain or your feet. Part 2, your first walk, a smart loop through the hits. Okay, bags light, water bottle ready, expectations realistic. We slip under the pyramid, take a breath in the bright hub, and choose our river. Most first-time visitors drift to Denon because that's where the must-sees cluster. Let's use that to our advantage. Stop 1, Winged Victory of Samothrace, the entrance with a gasp. We glide up the Daru staircase and boom, the Winged Victory is there, leaning into the wind, perched on a ship's prow. She's headless and still alive. The fabric cleaves to the body like it's wet, the wings feel mid-flap. If you're filming, this is where you slow down. Give your viewers sound, the echo, the low hum of the crowd, your soft voice. Say something simple. This is marble pretending to be motion. And it wins. Stop 2, Mona Lisa, the small storm in a big room. Now we follow the current to the Mona Lisa. Be honest with your audience. Yes, it's small. Yes, it's behind glass. Yes, you won't get it alone. That's okay. The point isn't to stand nose to nose, it's to feel the room react to her. When you narrate, avoid lecture voice. Try this. She's famous for 2 things at once, a technique you can't unsee, soft edges, a gaze that keeps meeting you, and a biography that reads like a thriller. Stolen in 1911, vanished for 2 years, returned a superstar. After your shot, pivot. Right behind you are huge canvases by Titian, Veronese, Caravaggio. Use the contrast, one intimate smile versus whole walls that roar. Stop 3, A Coronation of Napoleon, politics as a widescreen movie. In the same wing, find David's Coronation of Napoleon. It's enormous, like a political press conference painted by a perfectionist. Your line in Napoleon puts the crown on himself. And that is the painting. Everything else is the audience. Point out tiny details that humanize the scene, someone fidgeting, the diagonal lines that aim your eye. Keep it friendly, like you're showing a friend a secret in a crowd. Stop for Venus de Milo, the quiet breath after noise. We slide into Sully for Venus de Milo. Different energy here. Winged Victory shouted, Venus whispers. The missing arms do half the storytelling for you. Say it plainly. If she were complete, we'd know exactly what gesture she made. Because she isn't, our brain fills in the pose, and that's why we can't stop looking. Stop 5, Hit a sip of Egypt, writing that still speaks. Still in Sully, drop into a few rooms of Egyptian antiquities. Don't do it all, pick 2 or 3 spaces. Find a sarcophagus with cleanly carved hieroglyphs. Remind your viewers of your Rosetta episode. These aren't just pictures. They're sounds. They're names, dates, prayers, recipes for forever. Grab a quick macro shot of glyphs under nice light. Your editor will thank you. Stop 6, Code of Hammurabi, Law in Lava. Now let's cross to Richelieu for a deep breath and the Code of Hammurabi. A tall black basalt pillar with tiny, dent writing and a carved scene at the top, a king receiving authority from a god. Keep it simple. Before there were PDFs, there were rocks. This one tells you, clearly, what happens if you do a thing and what happens if you don't. Bonus calm, Napoleon III apartments. Since you're already in Richelieu, walk through the Second Empire apartments. Velvet, chandeliers, carved wood, mirrored light. It's quiet drama, a good place to reset your viewers' eyes before the next rush. Crowd survival kit that actually helps. Early or late beats midday. Pick a theme instead of a marathon. Use side rooms to breathe, hydrate and reset. Treat the Louvre like a hike. By the end of this loop, your audience has the icons and the oxygen to keep going. In part 3, we change gears. We tell the biographies of the objects, where they came from, how they were saved, and the honest debates about what belongs where. Part 3, backstories, how the art got here, wars, deals, debates, and care. Most museum scripts stop at "here's what to look at." The better story asks, how did it get here, and why is it still here? Many roads. One palace. The Louvre's collection is a patchwork quilt stitched over centuries. Royal buys and commissions, kings wanted trophies and taste. Revolutionary transfers, private treasures become public holdings. Archaeology, 19th, 20th century digs, some licensed, some guided by standards that feel outdated now. Donations and purchases. Collectors and curators building storylines. Napoleonic seizures, wartime removals, followed by returns and long negotiations over what stays. This is why museums obsess over provenance, the paper trail of an object's life. Today, provenance teams are basically detectives. Their work isn't scandal, it's maintenance of trust. The Mona Lisa heist that made a celebrity. A museum worker named Vincenzo Perugia hides in a closet and walks out with the Mona Lisa the next morning. She vanishes for 2 years. The world panics, newspapers print her face, and suddenly that small panel becomes an international star. When she returns, she's not just a painting, she's a story everyone knows. If you want a single line, a theft gave her volume. When she came back, she was louder than ever. World War II, how to move a civilization at night. War looms. Curators quietly evacuate masterpieces from Paris. Trucks roll at night to chateaus and safe houses. Labels are coded, routes are secret. The goal is simple: if the city is bombed, the art survives. There's a powerful sentence you can deliver slowly when a museum packs: it isn't abandoning art, it's saving time, so the future still gets a turn. The honest debates, empire, ethics, and returns. Large museums also sit in the middle of hard conversations: colonial histories, wartime removals, community claims, modern law versus past practice. Keep your tone human and clear. Some objects were taken, some were traded, some were dug under permits that would look strange today. Some works have been returned after research and talks. Many museums now publish provenance, open archives, and collaborate with source countries. This isn't the gotcha part of the story. It's the grown-up part. How institutions change over time, just like the building changed from fortress to palace to museum. The labs behind the magic. Some of the Louvre's real heroes don't have galleries, they have microscopes. Conservators clean, stabilize, and study works with X-rays, infrared reflectography, and pigment analysis. You can say our art ages like people do. Conservators aren't trying to make it young again. They're trying to help it age well. Loans, diplomacy in crates. Pieces travel, carefully, to other museums. Other museums' treasures visit Paris. These exchanges are art diplomacy with climate control and white gloves. When you see a temporary show, you're witnessing trust between institutions. Part 4, how to visit, and why this place matters. Let's keep it simple, like advice from a friend over coffee: when to go, and how not to suffer. Weekday mornings or late evenings are your friends. Avoid trying to see it all. Pick one story per visit. Take breaks as if you were hiking, because you basically are. A painless 90-minute route. First timers win. Enter under the pyramid up to Winged Victory. Slide into the Italian rooms. See Mona Lisa and her neighbors. Drift to Venus de Milo. Take a small sip of Egyptian antiquities. Cross to Richelieu. Code of Hammurabi. Napoleon III apartments. Back to the hub. Exit when your feet say enough. That loop gives you highs, lows, quiet, noise, and a sense that you didn't miss life because you skipped 3 miles of hallway. What to bring and what to leave: water, good shoes, light bag, patience. This is a team sport. A backup plan. If a room is a sardine can, pivot and circle back later. Why it matters: beyond the big three, the Louvre isn't only a museum. It's a time machine and a mirror. It tells you what people loved, feared, worshipped, and argued about for thousands of years. It also asks you a quiet question: what are you going to leave behind that's worth caring for? And here's the part one love most: it's public. This isn't a billionaire's private warehouse. It's a shared memory palace. You pay your ticket, you walk in, and for a few hours you are standing in the same rooms as emperors, revolutionaries, artists, and kids on field trips, all looking at the same things and feeling different things about them. That's culture at its best. If this helped you feel a little less intimidated by the Louvre, hit like, tap subscribe, and send this to the friend who thinks the museum is just the Mona Lisa. Tell me in the comments, which room would you get lost in on purpose?